We don't need to do it. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, good evening. I think yesterday I forgot even to say good evening. Yeah, so tonight, I think the topic is to talk about our most precious Guru, Kyabje Rinpoche, isn't it? Yes.
Members of IMI are joining.
IMI. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh. Oh, big project. Oh, okay. Oh, yes. So I think first of all, today mark the one of most important day to the all existence, to all such being. The Buddha's first returning of the Dharma. Even though there are numberless Buddhas came into existence, then among that, 1,000 fortunate Buddhas to be descended into this southern world. And within this very period of past or 2,600 years, there may be people coming, I don't know, maybe maybe a few hundred years. I think based on Guru Pema Sambhava's prediction, or maybe in Kalachakra Tantra or somewhere, I don't know exactly, but the intact, the existence of the Buddha Dharma in coming time. I think very much like 400 years or something. Comparing to the era of the sight, and then comparing to this very today's time. And the starting of the degeneration, of the impact of the Dharma, even though the era of the sight, don't know exactly when it will appear, but maybe a few thousands. But then the very much the fortunate environment of the intact of the preserver of the Dharma, such as Sangha, then the availability of the complete scriptures, then the availability of learned teachers, still I think for coming few hundred years, still very much like intact, but then then maybe, then from there, then there's a great distractions of the influence of maybe others' faith. And then by others' power, by others' force, there's very much come to a danger time of losing refuge. Yeah, maybe may not lose from the heart, but then outwardly, they may be a time that difficult to find, the communities of the Sangha, then preserving Dharma in extensive learning, etc., may come into great distraction. So yeah. So the time generally, this period of time where Shakyamuni Buddha came is regarded as the 5 degenerated time. There has been more fortunate time before, when the first Buddha came into existence, second, third. And this period of time when Shakyamuni Buddha came, about 2,600 years ago, regarded one of the most critical time, and will continue to face more and more critical time, as I mentioned before. And the 5 degeneration, such as the degenerations of lifespan, degenerations of the people, people's the way of living, the degeneration of the delusion, degeneration of time, the degeneration of lifespan. So because of that, it's very difficult for even enlightened beings to tame us. There's so much of a destructive, environment that we are born. Then on top of that, we are born in the desirous realm. This southern universe is the realm of desire, and we are among all the delusion. We carry the overwhelming desire, and that is one of the most destructive force for us to listen, pay attention to the Dharma. Even if Buddha revealed the Dharma, it's very difficult for us to first of all get interest, and secondly to understand, and to digest, to take into practice. It's one of the most challenging times. So so none of the Buddhas from 1,000 fortunate Buddha are ready to descend to the southern world to turn the wheel of Dharma. And Guru Shakyamuni Buddha, he had the courage and live up to his promise, the aspiration that he met, during his training on the path, that in the most difficult time, that when sentient beings are facing the 5 degeneration, and he will come and liberate us. You see, so we are very much, very much the beings that who are very much even given up by all the other 1,000 fortunate Buddhas, because of the very, very tough time that we were born. Then Shakyamuni Buddha, at least Shakyamuni Buddha, came to us to liberate. You see, from that point of view, we have a special relationship to the historical Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha. In particularly, reflecting on, his endeavor to liberate us, we really come to a position that we cannot take for granted. To really, live up to the teaching that Shakyamuni Buddha revealed in our really best ability. So because of the turning the wheel of Dharma, we at least have the tool. If we wish, then we have the tool to overcome the misery of the samsara, the bondage of karma and delusion. If we truly, understand the limitation of samsara and wish to enjoy, genuine, peace and happiness of liberation, then Shakyamuni Buddha have offered the complete, the complete Dharma, the Buddha Sutra, Tantra, even the tool that which give us opportunity to actualize, full enlightenment, the most perfect state of liberation within one very lifetime. You see, so from that point of view, we really feel fortunate to be reborn, even though it's a very unfortunate time of 5th generation. But then, when we're looking at the favorable condition that Shakyamuni Buddha have provided, the revealing of the complete Dharma, we can regard, one of very fortunate in relation to, our own, reincarnations. I think one of the most fortunate period. And we have obtained this the most favorable, precious human rebirth, where Shakyamuni Buddha hold the 3 precepts, the three vows, such as the individual liberation vows, and then there are vows, tantric vows. Then he have preserved that, through passing down all the 3 precepts, which keep intact up to today, through the perfect gurus, like perfect, Mahayana gurus, like such as his son Lama, like Lama Geshe, Kyabje Lama Zopa, and all your spiritual gurus. So that the lineage, we are the receiver of all those, the lineages of the 3 precepts. Then that makes our life truly a precious human rebirth. From the Mahayanic teaching point of view, what really defined precious human rebirth is the life that has the opportunity to cultivate the 3 precepts. Even though in the general understanding of the Lam from the common part of the small and middle scope, talks about the 8 freedoms and 10 endowments, but from the uncommon part of the Mahayana and Vajrayana. The uncommon part of the Mahayana and the common part of the Mahayana Shrayana, Mahayana Vajrayana, the precious human rebirth, very much defined by have the fortune to have the freedom to observe the 3 precepts. I think, so here, I think all of us, at least from the individual liberation vows, we have refuge vows. And then very much every one of us have a Buddhist vows. Then also the mostly have a tantric vows. Even in case have not yet received Buddhist the tantric vows, we still very favorable time where the compassionate Buddha, the Chenrezig, who manifests into the Guru form, human Guru form, his son is Dalai Lama, and there's so many great enlightened Gurus, still, pass down the lineage blessings of Buddhist vow, very frequent time. Then as well as many realize Vajrayana Gurus that who, run the high school tantric initiations. So then from there, we still have an opportunity to receive the tantric vows, and from there we can really make our life most favorable and most meaningful, in that sense. And all these are, due to the immeasurable kindness of Shakyamuni Buddha came into existence, and and revealing the Dharma. If even Buddha came into existence, I mean, Buddha is everywhere. All the knowledge past and present Buddhas exists all the time in every existence. But revealing the Dharma in the language that we can understand, is only Shakyamuni Buddha very much directly revealed through the Nirmanakaya, Nirmanakaya manifestations. So if in case Buddha didn't reveal the Dharma, then we will never realize the ultimate reality of self and phenomena. We will never find antidote to the cause of our samsara, the delusions, in particularly the ignorant. The antidote to the ignorance only Shakyamuni Buddha revealed. None of the other teachers, have revealed that. You see, so so therefore, I think it is really, really for us to deep, from depth of our heart, feel how fortunate we are, and to really celebrate that fortune, and celebrate the fortune that we have, to be born where the Buddha's teachings exist, and the teachings have transmitted to you, and you are, cultivating, those teachings, both in extensive learning, in your very best, and also, actualizing, realizations, stages of realization, stages of, transformation that taking effect into our life, that which ourselves, is the proof, from the time that before we met the Dharma, after we met the Dharma, how much transformation have taken place, and all those are the stages of realization that we have achieved. You see, so now to continue to celebrate that is to preserve, preserve the Buddha's advice or Buddha's teaching. Continue to learn. Whatever availability of the Dharma, whether it is Lamrim or specific topics, even how many times it repeats by the teachers, by the sanghas, always, engage in discourse is one of the way to uphold the Dharma in learning. You see, so even though we may hear the same word, read the same line, but then each time when we attend the discourse, we have opportunity to gain new wisdoms, greater wisdoms. Each time we listen the same line, without any doubt, one should, if we listen correctly, there's a correct way to listen the Dharma. If we listen that way, the correct way to read the Dharma. If we read that way, then each time, we gain deeper and deeper, greater and greater wisdom. That's the how that you develop your wisdom. You see, so here there's so many senior practitioners who've been learning Dharma for 40, 50 over years, I think, and who is still learning Lamrim, repeatedly reading the same text, repeatedly attending the discourse on the same topics of Lamrim, etc., which are really rejoicing. That shows that one really understood how to cultivate the Dharma, or how to preserve the Dharma. You see, the moment you learn one, let's say like a Lamrim, the moment we receive one transmission or commentary, then after that you close the book. Then whenever you hear there's a Lamrim discourse, then you regard that you have learned, and you don't need to repeat learning, and that shows that we didn't know how to preserve the Dharma in learning. You see, of course, we have to learn many texts, all the teachings, but then all those teachings, whether it's one topic, one text, or the whole text, it has to be learned repeatedly. It has to be learned repeatedly. There are gurus who only teach only certain topics. There's one great ex-abbot, late ex-abbot of Serje Monastery, and there are many other examples, but the one example who was in fact once upon a time is also a resident teacher in one of the ADMT center, I think in Taiwan. He only teach Lamrim. He don't teach anything. When it comes to a text, he don't teach any other text. He only teach Lamrim text. He also never offer initiations, and he teach the Lamrim text again and again. And sometimes the students who don't understand the actual ways to preserve the Dharma, they get bored. They get bored of reading the same text again and again. So there are many great learned scholars. They just teach Lamrim. And then, of course, when you think carefully, Lamrim it contains the entire 84,000 teaching. When you learn Lamrim, when you study Lamrim, then you learn entire Buddha Dharma. And then meditation, you see, we have to meditate on any topic from the very first, the Guru devotion, then all the stages of the topic, all the way up to the practice of the 10 bhumis, the Bodhisattva's practices. All has to be, repeated until it get perfected. And the state of perfections of all the stages of the path, even in the preservation of the Dharma in realization, complete only when we achieve the state full enlightenment. Until then, we have to just say, keep repeating it. You see. So, yeah. So anyway, so it's truly rejoicing that there are senior practitioners. Even though you must have cover the study of the entire text, entire Buddha teaching, but then you still continue to be as a Sangha member, come together and continue to, listen to the Dharma, be the part of the Dharma discourse. So those are, really rejoicing. Then similarly, the Sangha members, the Sangha communities in the Vinaya Sutra emphasize the preservation of the Dharma dependent on the preservation of the Vinaya. The preservation of the Vinaya, dependent on the preservation of the Sangha or the existence of the Sangha. So if there's no Sangha, and there won't be preservation of the Vinaya. If there's no Vinaya, if there's no Vinaya, then there's no Dharma. You see, so very much, even though there may be, so many texts available out there, so many monasteries may available, the temple, the outer aspect of big temples, and so many even labeled as a practitioner maybe out there, but then if there's no Sangha, if there's no ordained individuals out there, then there's no Vinaya. So then there's no Dharma, you see. So Buddha emphasized, the defining of whether in that particular place exists of Dharma or not is very much defined by whether there's existence of the Vinaya practice or not. And how you know whether there is a Vinaya practice or not is very much will know whether there's a Sangha, existence of Sangha or not. The best you observe the Vinaya with the three activities of the Vinaya, the practice of the confession, confession practice, or Sojong, then the summer retreat, observations of the at the 3 months or 1.5 months at least, the rainy season retreat, summer retreat, and then the Gaye, at the end of the summer retreat, there's a practice, the practice of the releasing from the summer retreat called Gaye. So it involves, extensive, the Vinaya rituals. So best is to have that, and that understood as a preserving of the Vinaya. In order to do that, then best, you should have, minimum 4 sanghas. 4 sanghas, not necessarily let's say in the state, in the country, whether there's Dhamma or not, then whether there's existence of minimum 4 fully ordained Sangha, or in that state, whether there's a Sangha or not, the Vinaya or not, is very much defined by the existence of the minimum 4 fully ordained Sangha. Then in that particular temple, that particular monastery, that particular center, that particular area, whether there's a Dhamma or not, defined by, again, this existence of the 4 fully ordained Sanghas, like that. So if in this very destructive time, challenging time, the world is very much overwhelmed with the distractions. The people who dedicate their life in the Sangha practice, the Sangha, living the Sangha vow is very rare and getting rarer and rarer. You see, so in such time, even there's existence of one Sangha, one fully ordained Sangha, or one novice, or one even preordained Sangha is extremely, extremely precious. You see, extremely precious. The Sanghas are, called venerable, the object of veneration, because of the vow, not by the name that the person carry, or the person to whom you know before, that newly become nun or monk, you may know as just normal friend, but then the moment they get ordained, they have the vow, and vow make them as object of veneration. Then when individuals among the Sangha, from the lay practitioner to the Sangha, then you venerate them through respectful words, then physical prostrations, and then respecting the value of the vows in your heart. The vow that they hold is a vow that Buddha preserved, that Buddha holds. You see, those arahats that they hold. So by doing so, then among each other, among Sangha, and from the lay practitioner to the Sangha, they accumulate immeasurable merits, which are so beneficial to yourself. Even from the senior Sangha to the junior Sangha, you respect because of the vow. You see, even though that the junior Sangha may have a less vow than the senior Sangha, or like an example, like such as a fully ordained Sangha, comparing to the novice Sangha. The novice Sangha has a less vow, but then fully ordained Sangha has to respect the newcomers. Respect in understanding of the value of the vows. Then from the newcomers, then respect the senior Sangha, again, with respect to the vows. So then, the higher the vows, whatever ways of veneration brings immense of benefit to yourself, purifications, accumulation of merit. So therefore, the junior Sanghas, like such as novice Sangha, they very much become attendant to the fully ordained Sanghas. They attendant to the fully ordained Sanghas because of the vows. And whatever way you attend, you offer service, because of the vow, you only receive benefits. Benefits of the blessing that which nurture your own, novice vow. Eventually, you accumulate the the meritorious causes eventually to achieve the fully ordained, fully ordained Sangha vows. So when you obtain the fully ordained Sangha vows, then there's no higher individual liberation vow than that. That's even for the Buddha, from the individual liberation vow, that's the highest. So your vows and Buddha's vows the same level, And so when you venerate to the someone who obtained fully ordained Sangha vow, you receive the similar benefit venerating to the Buddha. All the followers of the Buddhas are Buddha's followers, and then within that the sanghas are even closer, child or the followers of the Buddha. Then among that, the fully ordained sanghas are the nearest, the closest, to the Buddha, most treasured because of the vow, no questions to the lay practitioners, venerating to the Sangha. During Buddha's time, as you all know, the historical Shakyamuni Buddha, he was a prince. He came from the family during that period, one of the richest family, one of the most powerful family. And his family loves him so much. And his family, in fact, until he manifests to get enlightened, So from the Mahayanic point of view, the 12 deeds are very much the manifestation, the display. In actual fact, this historical, Siddhartha Shakyamuni Buddha were enlightened countless eons before. But from the Theravadan perspective, Buddhist perspective, then the 12 deeds are the first time, real time, first time performing the deeds of the Buddha. So so from the perspective of the Mahayana and Mahayanic practitioners, then until he displayed the enlightenment, his father and his father put all efforts to make him come back to the palace and to take the responsibility, the success of the king. Buddha, the king, ready to offer everything what he has. Not only that, he went through unbelievable obstacles. When he left the palace, it's not an easy journey. So much obstacles. Until he get chance to get ordained. But then he did it. But then after ordination, there's so many challenges. He met so many the spiritual friends that who some of them are not it's like wrong friends, wrong teachers. Even though he is looking for the correct path to enlightenment, but then there are so many teachers try to lead him to limited spiritual spiritual realizations, such as actualizing just certain limited samadhis and regarded that as a supreme realization of spirituality, etc. So there's so many obstacles. So, but then he never kind of you know, give up his journey and went back to the palace and to enjoy the comfort. You know, so then after he get enlightened, the other kingdoms, like kings, near the Rajgir, you know, there's a kingdom. There are many places in India, you know, some of the kings, you know, they want to offer the entire kingdom or huge land and resources for him to, you know, by after he start to turn the wheel of Dharma, so he has, you know, followers. Then he start to have ordained followers. But then, even though they are, you know, that he can own his own empire, and no need to worry about, you know, going for arming, for food, and you know, going different places, you know, like no definite place to stay. It's very much like the nomads. He have a choice, you know. If he want, he can just ask his father, and his father can provide everything. His son no need to depend on others giving, others offering of food, clothes, you know, shelter, medicine. And then even if he don't want to ask from his father, but he can accept those offerings from other kings and ministers, and you know, they are rich, very super rich disciples. He can just take them, and you know, he can have a, you know, more comfortable house for sanghas and food, and just stay in one place. But he didn't. So Buddha chose to go, you know, village to village, you know, for arming. And then stay in different people's house, you know. And that is because the Buddha himself and his Sangha carries the vows, the individual liberation vows, and that become, the person who hold it become object of veneration. So anyone who get opportunity to make offerings to them, you know, they accumulate merits. And most of the lay people, you know, nowadays, I don't know, nowadays even Sangha also may have become so busy with many activities. But during that time, the ordinary, you know, lay peoples are very busy with farming, looking after the cows. So they have no time to, and then looking after your children. So there's no time to study Dharma, meditate, practice, and no question about have a conducive, you know, time to preserve the vows. And the sanghas, you know, the main job is to preserve the precept, preserve the individual sangha vow. Then on top of that, then whenever there's a free time, you know, they study, they contemplate, they meditate. Then they, you know, those who are, you know, capable in being in the service of offering Dharma, like Dharma teachings, or even during Buddha's time, it's like they don't label as a hospice, but you know, there's some sanghas, you know, assigned as a carer to the sick people. Even Buddha himself also, you know, he, whenever he sees sick people, no question about sick sangha, you know, he just stationed there as long as it needs to care for the sick people. And he assigned his monks, you know, sanghas to care for the sick people. Then another major job is, you know, those who are qualified enough to teach, then assign them to teach, you know, teach like short courses to lay people during the off seasons of farming, etc. But then majority of the monks and nuns, you know, some they don't have interest, some they don't, you know, they comically, you know, they don't have the talent to teach or to take care of this sick and needy people. Rather they they dedicate their time doing monastery chores. But then each and every different the sanghas who does different monastery responsibilities, or the responsibility during the tour when Buddha travels, different sanghas, different responsibilities, or including of those sanghas don't do anything. They don't have the talent, but they still does the same same the equal responsibility, which is the preservation of the vow. So as long as you diligently, mindfully keep keep the vow purely, then that's the main job of the sangha. As long as you keep the vow purely, that's the main job. Always be mindful of your 3 doors, mindful of all the precepts, and guarding them. Then whenever there's a little transgression comes, then you purify through these 3 activities of Vinaya, the confession, which is the 3 activity comes the whole 3 thing comes in a year. 1 summer retreat, 1 the breaking of the summer retreat, or the releasing of the summer retreat, and then that morning before you break the summer retreat, then you do sojong, which is a conversion ceremony. But then so this 3 thing in at least 1 year is very much the whatever transgression that you met, those which can be what you call the refresh those precepts, then all can be refreshed within that 1 day. Morning sojong, then before that you are in Yanne, the summer retreat, then the conversion sojong, then right after that, then the releasing of the Yanne, three whole activity happens in 1 day. So that's one of the most important, But then every month, at least twice, the sangha, have the purification practice, through the confession ceremony. So one of the main, in day to day, so you be full mindful of observation of the precepts, vows. Then if there's any transgression comes your way, then you purify during sojong, without having even the slightest transgression in relation to the 4 root vows. Because once you break the 4 root vows, then you disrobe. Upholding intact of the 4 root vow, and the rest of the other vows, if there's there's a possibility of the slight damage could occur, and that can be purified during the conversion ceremony. So anyway, so whatever whatever responsibilities are assigned to the different sangha, even those of sanghas who have not assigned any legal responsibility, but as long as you're preserving the vow purely, and you are a very powerful object of others to accumulate merit, in particularly those who don't have time or karma or the environment to become sangha, for them to accumulate merit, one very powerful object to accumulate merit by making dana offerings, offering medicines, or offering robes. The practice of offering robes are very regarded very precious, because the robes, sangha robes, is not like a normal cloth. It defines the significance of different precepts different vows. So that's why you see in the Sangha robe, whether it's Theravada Sangha or the Mahayanic, the Sangha Tibetan tradition, there's a lot of cutting there, a lot of pieces. More vow, more cuttings there. The fully ordered Sangha is almost entire, your skirt is cut into pieces. Then novice vow also have quite a number of cuttings. And even the preordained Sangha, at least there's a cutting from the below and cutting from the upper side, the round. So these are the representations of your vows. So, when you make the robes and offer to Sangha, you uphold, you very much kind of appreciate and rejoicing, and you condition to uphold the vows like that. So whatever way that you relate to the, virtually, respectfully, you relate to the Sangha, immense of benefits. If let's say monastery, or even a Dharma center, if you have a fortune to have a Sangha, then taking care of them is unbelievable merit for the society, for the community, for that monastery, for that monastery in charge. Whoever is working for the Sangha, unbelievable merit. Even if it is just a little boy, little girl, they hold the individual liberation precepts, and you condition to preserve them, like giving them home, giving them education, giving them protection, security, medicine, etc. So even in a Dharma center, if you have a Sangha, then whoever is in charge of that Dharma center, those committees, the Sanghas are it's like your ornament, like your crown. Like if you're in your Dharma center, you have a Sangha, then it's like you have the crown on your rooftop. You have the crown like that. But if you have many Sangha, then you have so many banners on so many decorations on your rooftop like that. So you see, so therefore, if there's a Sangha, then to the community, it's a great opportunity to offer dana. As I mentioned before, Buddha chose to his monks and nuns to arm, depend on the benefactors, depend on the benefactors, not because of the monks and nuns cannot do business. The monks and nuns, some monks and nuns, I think, very good businessmen. But then they are not allowed to do business. Nuns and monks are not allowed to do business. but some, I think they can be very, very, very. Sometimes I think myself, I don't compare outside, but if I compare in my family, sometimes to tease them, I say, if I am a lay person, I can be a very, very good businessman. And I can be a very tough, I may go like kind of the top, very selfish. So anyway, because I say, and not only to my family, I also tell to some other, especially some of those disturbed monks, they said, now you didn't stay a monk, now you better do good business. If you didn't succeed to be Sangha, then now at least, do something from the lay community, something good, big one, So that many disturbed monks and nuns, if they go to the West, there's a lot of job opportunity, and at least, they get exposure. They don't become lazy. They don't become burden to their, their family. But they, some if they just unable to go to the West, they stay in Nepal. The job, very rare job, and most of the monks and nuns, we become monk and nun when we are little, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then in the monastery we didn't learn how to do job, those normal job. So sometimes, when we go out into lay community, it's very hard to survive. But I was, there's some distrust among the nuns, Nepal when I see them, and there are also a few of them also my students. So I said, in Kathmandu, I see everywhere is money. I said, where? Oh, money and the job. I said, where? I said, all the rubbish. I see all the rubbish as money. So you call it rubbish. You also, it's a good service to clean the city. But then you can recycle, there's so many plastic, you can recycle plastics, so many cardboards, you can recycle them. And all the other, the food, all this, you can make compost, because when I see in Australia, they do that. They recycle everything, so in Kathmandu, I see, everywhere I see money. All the street side, people see dirty, I see money, I see job. So I said, if I were a person, I think I will collect all the rubbish and make it into money. So anyway, that's story. So okay, now I get distracted. So anyway, from the beginning, I was distracted anyway. Okay, so I will wrap up soon. So yes, yes. So the monks and nuns not supposed to do business. And put into position to very much depend on the offerings. So in our common conventional world, this sounds very not really right. And even today's time, there are some monks start to think like that. This is not right. We should be self-sufficient. We should earn our own living like that. I remember our late abbot. That there's one time there are some some sangha who went to normal school, they graduate college, and they know how to do business. And when they join the monastery, they say, we cannot depend on benefactors, we cannot depend on students, we cannot depend on others. We should build hotel. We should create a businesses. Then this abbot go according with the Vinaya, the Buddha's way of life. He says, it doesn't mean I don't know how to build hotel, I don't know how to do business. It doesn't work that way. As a sangha, your main duty is to hold the vow and study and contemplate and meditate, practice. Then you rather build a strong relationship with those who don't have opportunity to become sangha, no opportunity to stay in the monastery, to make connection to them and make them have the opportunity to create merit by supporting the sangha. They say, this way is still more beneficial. It sounds like the other way is more beneficial, but in actual fact, the spiritual benefit is still the way how Buddha have designed during his time. That should be the way, you see. So, of course, they can be self-sufficient in many different ways, but I think the relationship between sangha and the rest of the people who don't have, who believe in this teaching, who follow Buddha Dharma, who respect sangha, I think we need to keep the relationship. And one of the relationship is the sangha stay as object of veneration, and the rest of other offer veneration. So I think so therefore, unless the sanghas they have no time and they themselves prefer not to interact with the students, the practitioners, then it's okay. Otherwise, if there's opportunity, for the society, for individuals to, it's a great opportunity to make offerings to the sangha, like food offerings, as I mentioned before, like even like tea offerings, or the offering of medicines, or even just offering of flowers. It's a great merit, especially the certain now in our in the APMT community, there are some sanghas who are doing extensive rigorous studies, like in Sarah, in great monasteries, dedicating 20 years of their life. And up to now, I don't know, but in future there may be even more. Up to now, there is still quite a lot, and there may be even more people may join in the future. But not everybody has the resources, to really, like, let's say Westerners, like Australians or Europeans, Americans, if they need to study in India, need to pay for visa. Then there are some general expenses, during study. So the communities and Dharma centers, students, a great merit, to support them. Also, in that way, you are also supporting for the preservation of the Dharma in extensive learning. Not just supporting Tibetans and Himalayan monks and nuns. The Western sanghas, Western monks and nuns, equally need to support. Same. You see, just coming from the West doesn't mean they have abundance of money, isn't it? Just coming from the West doesn't mean they have family support. I think many of at this time, I think that many of these Western sanghas that who becomes individual who become sangha in quite a mature age, but it has a lot of support from community. Then there may be a lot of younger girls and boys may inspire to become monks and nuns, to observe, as I already mentioned before, how important to have sangha. How important to for the preservation of Dharma, how important to have a sangha. You see, so and if we create the environment, more younger, girls and boys, and dedicate their life to do rigorous study, and that will really help to preserve the Dharma, greatly. I sometimes think this, in the initial stage, of course, the Buddha Dharma came into existence in India. So during Buddha's time, during his lifetime, of course, extensive flourishing of the Dharma. There's great, preservation of the Dharma, both in learning and practice. But then after Buddha passed away, then there's about 200 to 300 years. It's almost like about 400 years period. It was a great distraction to the preservation of Dharma. The both in learning and practices, came into degeneration until 400 years later when Nagarjuna came into existence. Then the Nalanda University, etc., was able to establish. But then, a few hundred years, extensive flourish of Dharma in India. But then again, they came into a great distractions. Even the Nalanda monastery was destroyed. So many scholars was been killed, and some passed away, and some with so much fear, not able to, rejoin. They're not able to, inspire newcomers until almost wipe away completely. The Buddha Dharma is in India. They may be in remote areas hiding. Some of the the great arhats or the master eaters may be practicing, but then as far as concerned with the preservation of learning is almost disappeared. But due to the engagement by the parents, starting from King Tongsen Gampo, then especially later part, King Long Dezen, etc., put great effort, including inviting Pema Sambhava from India, and then Chandrakshita, then the Lama Adisha, etc., into Tibet. Then they, able to create the environment, not only the older generation but also the younger generation, to have an opportunity to do a rigorous study. Then because of that, for almost 1,000 years, the intact, complete, preservation of Dharma exists in Tibet, and especially in the past 600 years, especially, in relation to, Lama Tsongkhapa's tradition, especially focused on balance, rigorous study and meditation together. Well preserved up to today, even like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Kyabje Lama Rinpoche, Lama Geshe, all the great masters like the precious eminence like His Holiness Rinpoche, like Trijang Dorje Chang, etc. Those great, unbelievable, enlightened, the gurus came into existence, and many of these gurus, you even have a direct opportunity to learn, receive Dharma blessing from them. All these are the product of those environment. You see, but now, of course, for this time and for another, hopefully for a long time, with blessings of this, amazing enlightened knowledge, such as the compassionate Buddha, and all these other great gurus, may continue to, preserve, but then still you see very obvious sign of, getting less and less interest of people dedicating in extensive learning from Tibet, from Himalayas. In India, those in great monasteries during my time, is like every day there's like hundreds of people, new monks and girls, coming out of Tibet, joining the monastery studies, like that. Now it's almost completely stopped. Then in the past, from Himalaya region, like in Nepal, in India, our parents' generation, they really understand the privilege of their children becoming Sangha and getting into these great monasteries and do extensive studies and dedicating the rest of their life in preserving Dharma. But then in today's time, like in my generation, many of my generation parents, their focus is money, material development. They don't see value in Sangha, even from the Himalaya region, even from the place where I'm coming from. They don't see the same meaning how our parents used to see. You see, and rather they see the importance of the material success. So they rather encourage their children to study, numbers, study, other, academic studies, and best you travel to the West and earn a lot of money and build big houses, buy big car, and always compete to the neighbor. I remember even in my class, who are just maybe like final year to become Geshe. So this was maybe about 10 years ago. One of my classmates, by that time I'm already in the West, so they think I have a lot of money. So he was pressured by his parents from Tibet, saying that we send you to study for almost 20 years, but not even one single renminbi, the money sent back. Where are you? What are you doing? He said, our neighbor, who just few years ago went to America and picked a big house. And just few years ago, you already went out for about 20 years, not even one what do you call it, one ringing bin sent. What happened? So every now and then, asked to send money. So he until he's disturbed, he's really, really serious about his study, and he's a great learned one, and he's already, I think, teaching philosophy even before he was Geshe in a great monastery. So he says, you have to help me send some money. I need to send to my parents. I say, I'm almost as poor as you. So my parents didn't say that, but I think they must be thinking the same thing, maybe just a matter of time. So like that. So now you see, from Himalayas, from Tibet, getting less and less and less. I fear, there's a danger of occurring, looking situation around the world in these regions. There's a danger. Like what happened to India in the past. But then at the same time, which is very uplifting, is that there's a new interest coming from the West. For about 20 years back, we don't have, we have one or two, Westerners who are studying, but that's very rare, extremely rare. It's like almost not possible like that, Maybe this one or two is like alien, you see. But then for the past 15 over years, there are 10, 20 of, Westerners. I don't know exact number. And I think there are a lot of who carry interest, but then and they don't have resources, maybe, I remember one of the who just become Sangha, just become Geshe, who initially came to Sarah. So usually you call Kyabje, so I was assigned that teacher. So if I remember correctly and if I hear correctly, he said before he came, he decided to dedicate his rest of life to study that many long year. He has to travel to Taiwan somewhere few years to dedicate to work and earn some money for his expenses. Otherwise, no opportunity from that point of view, because there's no other support from anybody, no support from family, no support from friends, no support from society, and also it's a bit like kind of strange to like kind of ask sponsorship. Many of the Himalayas and Tibetans quite used to asking sponsorship, you see. So what I'm trying to say is that you see, this is my thinking from a long time. I do little analysis for my my own way. In the West, in the future, there will be a great resources, what's it, the base to preserve the Lama, both in extensive learning and extensive practice. Like what happened, like how in Tibet have preserved, and how in Himalayas, in the past years preserved. I think in Tibet, in Himalaya, continue to carry on that legacy for a long time, but then there will be a huge force, I think, maybe coming from the West, and it will be so successful when there's a lot of new younger generations joining, and for that you need to create the similar kind of environment that created during the Buddha's time in India and during the Nagarjuna's time, Lama Atisha's time in Nalanda, and in Tibet, and in today's time in India, like in Saratibunkan. Then the Buddhist community are the one who support to facilitate to thousands of people to dedicate their life in extensive study. I even didn't get a chance to talk publicly, but whenever I see Western Sangha, especially those who already show capability of carrying some important responsibility, and especially those who are graduating at Geshe, good scholars, have to vision to establish the great learning monastic institution like Serate Bongkanden in the West, like one in Australia, one in Europe, one in America, like that. You see, and like from FPMT, you already have like Shetubling Monastery and in Nunnery, in Europe, you have Nalanda Monastery. There's so many Sangha, you see. But I think it's still, their Sanghas still need to pay. I remember there's one Sangha community I went, and the leader, they complained, they say, the Sangha come and go, they're not staying. Then he said, it's a very comfortable accommodation to stay, beautiful Gomba, great teacher here, but they come, they go, they don't really sustain. So my mischievous mind say, do you charge the Sangha? He said, yes or no? What do you mean by yes or no? He said, oh, they charge very little. Very little. So I don't know exact number, maybe let's say $20 a month, maybe just example, okay? I don't know exact number. So I said, what do you charge? He said, so then they will feel belonging. And then my reply is, that will make the Sangha to feel not belonging. They will regard the monastery as a hotel. I say, if you want to charge, you charge big. You charge like how the hotel charge the customer. Then you don't complain whenever they leave, whether they stay, they stay as a hotel, and they want to leave, they will leave. Then you don't have to worry. You see, but otherwise, even $20, even you charge $5, still for certain Sangha, it's still a burden. For certain Sangha, even at $5, especially in the West, you don't have a culture of people making, cash offering, puja offering. In Nepal, India, whenever you do puja, there's, sponsor, you offer cash, so you can save that and you can pay the bill, isn't it? But in the West, you don't have that culture yet. Maybe some places start, but not really. So even for that $5 is really a distraction, inconvenient, because you need to go and earn, because he will not go and steal it. If you don't ask someone to help, but you also don't have that culture, then people also have no culture to give. So at the end, that $5 can be a big obstacle. I say, as a Sangha community, you need to have a abbot. You need to have a manager. You need to have manager, officer. You see, abbot. So as an abbot, for me, the main job of an abbot is parenting to your Sangha, to your monastery, monastic community. It's like parenting. You see, for teacher, you can hire a teacher to teach. You see, so the parents' job, what you do, the parents' job, if your children is still studying, then you support, you feed them. You very much take care of everything, isn't it? So parents have to go and earn to take care of your children, isn't it? Similarly, the abbot should go and raise fund, and you have to go and find whatever way you do, whatever way you have to raise resources to take care of the Sangha. Or otherwise you assign, the abbot can assign some monasteries, the managers, certain monasteries, the managers are very, very powerful. The managers are the ones that who actually take care of all the necessary needs, and the abbot, they do the certain spiritual chores in monastery. But the major monastery, the abbot is himself or herself is the one that go and find resources to take care of the Sangha. And the Sangha's job, as I mentioned before, observe the pure vow, and then study, then as long as the monastery fully take care of the community, then the community have to take turn to do the chores. So you don't have to hire a volunteer from outside, or volunteer you can welcome, but no need to pay money to someone to work. The certain Sangha work as a sweeper, certain Sangha take work as a sweeper, work as a cook, driver. Then in your community you can have all kind of Sangha. Some may have interest in study, you assign to study. Some Sangha may interest to driving, assign to driving. Some Sangha interest to do cooking, or some cleaning. Some just there, observe the house. Also there are some do nothing, just but as long as they keep the pure, that's good job. So anyway, this is what I think. So I have to think, for a long time, so I'm sure this is just since today is Sangha Day, so I take opportunity to, and also I heard that I am in Sangha is here, isn't it? So for that purpose, so you really have to, think. I met quite most. I am Sangha individually. I said so important to vision to really have the monastery, the similar culture that the monastery culture that has in Tibet, in Himalayas, in Nepal, in India, in the West. Then that way, I believe there's so many younger boys and girls may come and join. Okay, so I gotta stop here. Okay, yes. Okay, about Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So that's my topic. And the time is finished. Yes, so let's see about Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Is even, let's say, from an ordinary mind, like from ordinary person's mind, just blindly, nakedly, observing, which is, no way can ever to see his heart, but then you can very much judge, through his speech and through his physical activities and through his, entire lifetime way of living. Is no doubt is Arya Bodhisattva. Is no doubt. If we learn about the definition and characteristic of the Bodhisattva and Arya Bodhisattva, even from the ordinary mind, just seeing directly, you can be convinced, this, Rinpoche is not an ordinary person. It's Arya Bodhisattva, it's Bodhisattva who's living completely in Bodhisattva's way of life, you see. But then, ultimately, if you meditate and try to understand, who is this Lama Zopa, Kyabje Lama Zopa is, then, very clear that is absolutely enlightened Buddha, you see. So, so therefore, it's no way, in a few hours or in a few words can able to express its enlightened qualities. Is immeasurable, unexpressible, qualities like that. But just just few to illustrate, even that is from the ordinary mind, that you can, Rinpoche from very young, very little boy, he illustrated as very compassionate, very kind, and very peaceful, and very, what you call them, very bright children, very bright kid, even though he was born in very remote place, very poor family. But then, he's like outshined. And that's very much, carry the gene of his previous life, you see. Then not only that, his parents, also a very conducive parent. I never met his Rinpoche's father, but I met Rinpoche's mother. And we hear a lot of stories about Rinpoche's mother. But just even spending some time with her, you can really clearly can see it's a Bodhisattva, not an ordinary woman. Then when she passed away, she reincarnated. She has the ability, like Arya Bodhisattva's ability to choose your own parent, your own life like that, you see. And the mother who really is a very obvious, illustrations of how compassionate being is, what kind of, it's a very clear example of, someone, someone completely, fully developed compassion and living a life with a lot of compassion like that. So when it comes to a parent, it's a very conducive parent, the way he was born. As Rinpoche himself, from the very young age, he illustrate, realized beings in which carry his previous lives, enlightened beings, and continue on. Then, from very young, small age, he was ordained. Then, entire his life, observe, pure morality, of the highest morality, the highest precept that we discuss about the individual liberation precept, Bodhisattva precepts, tantric precepts, who living in the pure, pure moral conduct, pure precepts, highest level of precept, and manifest that, the adorning of such precept, his behaviors, his movements, even the physical, the gestures are like as like the subdued, as like arhat, as subdued as like arhats, the way he walk, you see, that gentleness, that peacefulness, that mindfulness, the rest, the respect to the nature, respect to the other sentient being, really, illustrated like as subdued like arhat. And then his heart, from very young age, in his heart, completely overwhelmed with compassion. Then, as far as concerned with the tantric practices, he is great lineage holder of the all the high Sufi tantric deities from all the 4 different traditions, Nyingma, Kagyu, Sajja, Gelug. Then he's a really embodiment of Heruka, embodiment of Heruka, Rinpoche's main meditation of deity, which is very secret, which is the Heruka. So then he also adorned with extensive, scholarly, qualities, through reliance on great, scholars like such as Geshe Rinpoche and such as Lama Geshe, Then as far as concerned with the tantric, such as Ling Rinpoche, His Honor's Ling Rinpoche, His Honor's Trijang Dorjang, then of course His Honor's the Dalai Lama, and then like Psychiatrist Rinpoche, then from Nyingma, from Kagyu, is a truly is a holder of a non-sectarianism, complete Dharma of both Sutra and Tantra. Then when it comes to the one of the, the root of the path, the Guru devotion, the Guru Yoga practice, Kyabje Lama Sorumshu within the Tibetan community, within the Tibetan Buddhist, community of the Lamas, ordinary practitioners, monastery scholars, Kyabje Lama Sorumshu regard as an example of the, perfect practitioners of the Guru Yoga, the Guru devotion. So Lama Sorumshu, regarded as a, to whom to look up to in relation to the practice of good devotion. See, and we have witnessed that, how they uphold the Guru devotion practice, even to someone from whom that he received just one transmission, one oral transmission, to just receive one commentary, one explanation of one line, one transmission of just one mantra, or just one initiation, or just one advice in regarding as a spiritual friend, then from that onward, his devotion, his devotion is so perfect that it truly, illustrate that he's seeing that individual teacher as an absolute Buddha, absolute Buddha, you see. And he illustrated that through his word, through his action, you see, through his action, you see. And not just like, when to certain guru and not to certain guru, like that, or throughout the life, you meet so many amazing teachers, and the earlier one you start forget, and you cherish the new one. Not like that. Some people doing that. But Rinpoche, as long as even receive one transmission, then who really practice seeing Buddha, so like that, you see. So and then when it comes to living in the Bodhisattva's way of life, you very much can define from the practice in action in relation to the six perfections, and the four ways of the benefiting the disciples. You see, when it comes to generosity, Rinpoche, can you imagine, just to think about this, how many years, maybe almost 20 years, very much, I think around since 1990, I think. I remember exact year, Rinpoche started to feed over, 2,000 or 3,000 monks in Serje, 3 meals for 20 over years. Can you imagine? Just to feed one stomach, go to Uli, I said. The thing of expenses, just to buy one croissant, cannot, or one coffee, or one tea, coffee, one coffee. Wow, unbelievable. But then Rinpoche fit, by the power of his merit and his the courage and the heart of generosity, and also heart of respect, and a heart of respect. That we talk about the Sangha, importance of the Sangha. So unbelievable. I don't know, even billionaire. And there are so many billionaires in the world. Maybe they may fit maybe thousands, and maybe people, maybe for a few days, but someone really fit for so many years. Unbelievable. I remember, during 1995, 6, sorry, just before Rinpoche offered the meal. So it would be 1990s, I think, just before that. I joined in 1990. So at the time, when I first joined, there no Rinpoche haven't offered food yet. So that time, a lot of newcomers, especially coming far from that. And after reach to Sarah, after 1 week, 1 month, they can't survive. They want to go back because their teacher cannot, unable to support. There are times that some comes in, they cannot support. The monastery cannot support. And usually the teachers, whenever you accept someone as your student, the teacher need to feed them, and the teacher, you can't support, and really have no food. So then they can't survive. So start to go back, and quite a number. So then the moment they start to feed, then some are already returned all the way to Nepal, then return. There's some, they went for some doing pujas in some Himalaya regions like Sikkim, in Nepal. They do pujas to earn some money, and they come back to study because now they don't need to worry, the food like that. You see, so then orphan homes, orphanage homes, then monasteries. Not just a Gelug monasteries, Nyingma, Kagyu, Saja. Not just a small one, the big one, not just the big one, the small one. from after Rinpoche passed away, there's so many, almost everywhere which have reached out, and that's almost all. You can almost say almost all have asked Rinpoche's help, and he really fulfilled everyone's wishes. And many of them, those maybe those who really all the time with Rinpoche may know, and his office may know, but many of us ordinary people don't know. During the 49 days of Rinpoche's passing away, so many good people come up and say, we were also benefited during this difficult time. Rinpoche came to rescue us. There are lamas saying that, that I finished my study, but then that's it. No platform to benefit others. So Rinpoche, provide a platform. There's some lama, they disrupt. After that, suddenly the world kind of like disregard them, but Rinpoche kind of, give them hope and give them platform to teach. There's so many, even great lamas who carry great name, but there's no platform to benefit others. So Rinpoche, provide them to work for the benefit of Senjeping, etc., etc. So there's unbelievable generosity and generosity of his time. How much? I think Rinpoche really one of the Lama who have taught the most. just within one teaching event, unbelievable hours, day and night, even just before even he passed away, he teach many hours. But some years before that, teach 12 hours like that. There's not even one single time that Rinpoche really, like say, okay, now I'm so tired, I rest. After teaching, he meet people are queuing, few years before, people are lining up, to see Rinpoche. See. So many of you have opportunity to have audience with Rinpoche. For him, it's he will see you as there's no time. Many of you maybe tried to see Rinpoche, maybe didn't get a chance to see Rinpoche, but that is because of he really has no time. So the office has to stop, and then has to stop. So maybe many of you also maybe didn't get a chance to see him. But the thing is, the Rinpoche is other, compiling maybe prayers, teachings, for our benefits, or composing, teachings to our benefits, or he's, doing retreats also to our benefit, because if he don't do community retreat, he cannot initiate us, isn't it? So he has to do initiation for all the deities. Can you imagine Rinjung Gyatsa, Suga Gyatsa, the hundreds and hundreds of initiations. Each one of the deity has to do retreat before you offer. First, you need to receive the initiation. So Rinpoche put years after year, you have so many gurus, because certain gurus carry only certain lineage of initiation, certain transmissions of commentary, certain transmission of oral transmission. So he has to look for, so many gurus, and he try to have all the lineages so that he can pass it down. He can offer that service to the fortunate one. All of us, the fortunate one, all the students, isn't it? Unbelievable efforts. There's how many years he will never miss his honest teachings, and I remember there's one stage, I don't know how many years, maybe even 8 years, for a number of months, dedicated time to receive the transmission of the Sakya lineage for Sayadaw Rinpoche, Kyabje Rinpoche, and then from other Nyingma lamas, from many Gelug lamas, unbelievable. So these are example to us, all of us, also. If you carry some responsibility to pass teaching to others, then you need to receive transmissions. So any teaching we teach, like any text, if you really want to also transmit the blessing, then must receive commentary on that text. Must receive transmissions. You see, similar like initiation, without you receive, you're not supposed to teach, because they need blessing. The teaching of Dharma is not intellectual knowledge teaching. You need to pass, you need to transmit the blessing, and that way, even blah 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 blah, or even you didn't understand at all, you really get what you're supposed to get, the lineage blessing. So Why you respect the teacher so much? Because of the lineage blessing, not just the knowledge, not just the descendants, Otherwise, we just play the tape record, just on the computer, everything in the hard drive, and that's good enough, isn't it? Why you need it in person? Why Nirmanakaya is so important? Why Guru is more important than Buddha? Guru is much more kinder than the old numberless Buddha. Why we regard that? Because of the lineage blessing, transmissional lineage blessing that comes through initiation, that comes through oral transmission, that comes through commentary, you see. And not all the teachers carry that, you see. If you're really, really into a spiritual purpose, when we study Dhamma, when we receive initiation, when we receive transmission, we need to look for someone who carry those lineages, not just went to college and study scholarly grade, know how to blah, 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 so much. And then that's not good enough, you see. So, so we can learn from it. Even you don't need to pass down the teaching for your own benefit. Need to put more effort to receive those. In the West, you don't see much. You see, now you start to see more interest in putting effort to go and receive transmissions, like oral transmissions, commentaries, from those lineage holders. In the past we would say, I don't understand English. No, I don't understand Tibetan. So what's the point? I'm going for the transmission, isn't it? No, you don't have to understand Tibetan. Even those most Tibetan who are in the discourse, they don't understand what the teacher is teaching or teacher is transmitting. But as long as you're in that mandala, that environment within the compound, then you receive that transmission, the blessing, and that is the main direct cause for realization on the path. Without that, sometimes too much knowledge, and there's also danger of becoming a dharma pollution. There's the boosting ego, or then diluting the teaching, because you're too smart. So you see. So anyway, so we can learn from all this. All Rinpoche's life is the way he speaks, the way everything he does is a teaching. He does teaching, like the generosity as mentioned, or then morality as I already mentioned before. Then patient, is you can see, when we talk about the sixth perfection, the patient enduring the suffering problems. Can you imagine? He need to lead 160 over senders. We know those who are involved in the committee, how many complaints comes, and most of the complaints we complain to Rinpoche, isn't it? So and then most of people who come and see these lamas like Rinpoche, people mainly come to see because they have complaints. They complain about their life, their problems, and asking to solve the problem. Bless us to solve the problem. I also used to do a lot of consultation. In time I meet a lot of people. When I was in Malaysia, I meet a lot of people. So just to listen is very, very tiring, because everything is about negative. Everything is about problem. Even though you are not a problem, but just to listen, even you try not to be in that position, just listen. That drain you. Can you imagine? So then Rinpoche carry those, manifest so many inconveniences, like stroke, etc. But then he never limit his time in the service of sentiment. That's really, is patient. You see, and patient gathering virtue. Can you imagine? Every single time, every single being is opportunity for Rinpoche to accumulate merits, or accumulate merit benefiting others. Transmitting merit to others, or himself also accumulating merit. Every single thing. So gathering virtue. When he see one single insect, or recite powerful mantras and prayers. When he see people, he start to teach Dhamma. He won't just talk nonsense. Always, and not only teach, but he will teach complete one. If you are joining him for lunch, you have complete lamre. Or if you just happen to meet at the circumambulation aura in the stupa and just say hello to him, then just the whole Amrit will be transmitted to you like that, So, I mean, there are so many sort of unbelievable stories, so we cannot go there. Others will be a whole night, Some of you may have heard, I've shared this story, I think, when I was in Teresik, the Rinpoche's one journey from his cave Lodot to Kathmandu. That's unbelievable. The Rinpoche's care for every single numberless, sentient beings that comes in his way. So like that, and then patient in paying attention to people. He listened to everyone, like full attention. He give you whole thing attention, full concentration. See, and completely selfless. Completely selfless. Then also, full of joyous effort. When he teach, even we get tired of listening, but he's very happy teaching. He's so excited like that, and sometimes we say, oh, maybe we hope that now he'll stop, and now he'll stop, but Rinpoche carry on and on and on, and he's like so into it, because in the joyous effort, in benefiting sentient. You see, so from this sixth perfection, you see that it's like you can illustrate that his life is completely, without any doubt, in a Buddhist way of life, like that, So when he passed away, after he passed away, also, you see, he's inspiring, whole world, in whole Buddhist world, no question about all the Tibetan, the Buddhist traditions, but also from other traditions, even during his life, we never imagined like that, but after he passed away, can you imagine? Then how many people continue to practice, like even us, after Rinpoche passed away, we start to really be more mindful in our practice. We try to dedicate more time to practice. All this is blessing. So even he passed away, even after he dissolved his physical body, he continued to, benefit. He will continue to inspire, continue to benefit, until all sentient beings actualize enlightenment. This is the teaching of the enlightened beings, isn't it? Okay, so I better stop here. Otherwise, yeah, already in the 30. Sorry. Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Changing the wording in prayers and what prayers.
Yes.
And going to this project under that project, you want to start a center to do it.
Right.
Right. You want to buy a center, you want to sell a center, you would from the point that send it back if you would. Where is that would get now?
On that, I have no idea. So you have to ask them. You have to ask the in charge. I have no idea.
It's almost like taking the ink out of the car.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think the engine's still going now. He's given us all the advice. We just have to get on with it.
Mm. Yeah. No. Yeah. For individual level, then very much. I think all of us, whether we have received teaching from Rinpoche or not, like even like Lama Geshe, I think very much we have benefited by Rinpoche and Lama Geshe and his son Lama. Even first time when you met Tibetan Buddhism, from other teacher, unless maybe there may be few maybe before Lama Geshe and Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche and his son has traveled to the West. Maybe you have already traveled to Tibet and India, and you already make your own connection to the Tibetan Lamas and you study Buddhism. That's a different case. But otherwise, for most, especially in the Gelug tradition, who Lama Tsongkhapa was teaching, I think, in the West, we have linked to the kindness of his son Lama, Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche and Lama Geshe. I mean, even in Australia, I think the first, Gelug center, I think the Charity Institute, even for FPMD, I think the Charity Institute is the first Dharma center. All teacher that we came in to FPMD center is because of Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche and Lama Yeshe coming to the West is very much a blessing of His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. Without His Holiness approval, without His Holiness blessing, Lama Yeshe and Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche won't travel to the West, won't establish the center. Everything, according with the blessing and approval of His Holiness, you see. Like that, all the Western Sanghas, the senior students who are now, offering Dharma teachings and taking care of the centers, all of them are product of, Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So even you have not met Rinpoche directly, but you are receiving his benefits, I think, like that. So whatever the Dharma teaching that we learn, you uphold that, you preserve that, continue to study, continue to practice, and I think that's the perfect guide. And in that way, I think we never be separated from Rinpoche. And the most important, the inner guru, especially those who rely, so much to Rinpoche physically, the reason to dissolve this, enlightened gurus, their physical body, is, to really to disciple to ripen their inner guru. So more than ever, your guru, inseparable from you. Now no need the physical representations of the guru to guide you. The guru, the wisdom that you have learned from the Dharma is the one that guides. So, then it stays inseparable, like that. Okay. Thank you. Good night. Yeah. It's okay.